things, and I was a smart.
Okay,
I'm going on my tangent. Let me finish. I've been in situations where I did shit, and my mom has stories on me. Like if they ever got out, I'd have to just kill everybody who heard it. Like, and my mom has whooped my ass, and I can say I deserved every ass whooping I got as a child, because I probably pushed my mom to her past her breaking point, and then laughed and thought I'd get away with it. But the biggest thing is with this AP situation, he was raised a certain way, and it shows in who he is, his training regimen, everything, and how he is. So you would have to then say everything he learned and everything he went through is wrong, and that's not really a way you. That's not a way you approach this. You got to go get like psychological counseling to explain, and someone like talk about your childhood to a therapist, and then they can kind of give some outside perspective, and you can kind of understand. Okay, well, this is that. You're never going to change someone's core values.
That defeats exactly what you're saying, because in order to make that first step, you would have to be vulnerable to do that. But being the greatest running back ever, like, you're not going to have that sense of vulnerability.
It's not even that. It's more of like, dog.
That's what the article was about, though, is about how he pretty much has the same mindset through and through, that he is the GOAT, and that's how he trains, and that's how he prepares.
But you could say that about a lot of people who have that mindset, and guess what? Different areas of their lives are affected. Kobe don't even talk to a lot of his family, but he's a great family man. Two things can exist in the same universe that are kind of conflicting. And in this case,
but
I don't think
you can't really compare how Kobe was brought up to how AP was brought up. Kobe was brought up completely different.
That's my point. But they're both are assassins in what they do.
Sure.
You can't turn that off. Michael Jordan can't turn off being an asshole when he's being competitive. That's why when he told his kids at his Hall of Fame ceremony, good luck. Yeah, what supporting father says that? That's kind of embarrassing. But guess what? Everyone's different. You can't judge someone with that alpha mentality based off what you think, because y'all have different mentalities. You got to just meet people halfway where they are and be like, your actions have effects on people that you don't see long term. You just see you see. They say like good intentions are the pathway to hell or whatever. Like, your intentions for what you want your child to be and the actions you take, you'll be judged for in time. But you also have to be thinking about it. I think he just instinctually does that and believes that because that's how he was raised, and look who his father was and his background.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying for sure. My whole take on it is what it's always been since we've been talking about this for 3 years in various podcast formats, is that what you're saying is true, and I get it, but at the same time, times change, man, and you have to adapt and you have to change. And that's what it is.
You can't let society pressure you into raising your children, though.
That's
look at
the
society we have now.
That's not what it is, though. That's not what society. That's
you
not
may
society.
not think that, but that's the point. The talking points of people who are shaming him.
That's even what
probably have school shooters for kids.
I mean, even Chris Carter said it best, right?
Let's talk about Chris Carter's kid.
He was like, my mom used to beat the shit out of me. My mom did her best. I love my mom. But now I know that wasn't right, and that's kind of
that's not the way you should. That's not the way I would have wanted.
That's evolution, right? It's like, just because you're brought up the same way, that doesn't make it right. Just because that's how you were brought up, doesn't make it right. And we both know that as people who've been through traumatic shit.
You have a teachable moment, instead of shaming the guy.
But the whole thing I was going to take to your point, and what I got from the article, is that he's just not at that point to where he's ready to.
And guess
change.
what? Some people never are. I know some old school. Like my grandfather was an old school cat. From what my mom and people in the family have told me, he was fair. He was also firm. And some things you're just not going to push a man off of his ledge if he firmly believes it, or a woman in that regard.
Even besides that,
some people have an old school mindset. You're just not going to change.
Even besides all that, man. And somebody brought this up. Like I just talked to a Lyft driver about this. It's like, kids, you got to handle like judo. You just have to kind of learn how to redirect their energy.
Yep. Because
they're still going to do what they're going to do. You just have to learn how to give them other things to do and other ways to put that energy into it.
Yeah.
And I've had same type of conversations with, people around me that are teachers. It's like, you can't really stop a kid from being a kid. So that's why it's like,
but we know that now.
it's like, yeah, but it's like, come on, bro. Like, what in the world could a kid possibly do,
dog, you don't know how that
to get beat like
you don't
Jesus
know,
Christ?
Okay, first off, you don't know how Adrian. Would you have survived Adrian Peterson's childhood?
Fuck no.
That's what I'm saying. We can't put ourselves. We can't retroactively go back and judge. It's like if I said,
but that's why he went through all that, so he doesn't have to recreate that
but
same.
He's a
upbringing.
He's a different person.
But
you gotta
exactly,
fully
he
get
went
inside
through that, so his kids wouldn't have to.
Okay, but give me Marshawn Lynch.
It's like my dad, who's a mechanic, who's been a mechanic all his life, a mechanic in the Marines. His pops is a mechanic. Exactly. It's like he went through that. He wanted to let me touch a car because he went through that. He went to the service. He went through all that, so I wouldn't have to.
I'm actually glad you brought this up because I watched Bohemian Rhapsody last week, and I told you, honestly, I think it's the greatest biopic ever. Freddie Mercury made peace with his father before he died. He was gay, and he was really flashy, flamboyant. His dad was conservative and came from he was I think he was a banker or some shit, but he worked hard and was kind of conservative, and he didn't really agree with his son's lifestyle. But they made peace before he died, before Freddie Mercury died. Now that man, his father he lightened up, but he probably still kind of had his stance somewhat on things. But that didn't mean that he didn't love his kid.
For sure.
They're from different.
No, for sure. I'm not. I would never say another man doesn't love their kid.
But that's the point I'm getting at. It's deeper than just we know right from wrong.
I wouldn't even say that about Ray Groove.
Yeah, you can't say he just didn't like his. In a lot of cases, some people just don't like the person that they had the kid with. That's why I say I said it on Twitter. I was like, a lot of you feminists who hate men really just hate your father for not being with your mom, but maybe his hatred of your mother was greater than his love for you, and that's why he chose to not be around, because he knew it would have been a mess. But people don't want to have those hard introspective looks at life and their lineage outside of themselves. It's easy to say you shouldn't beat your kids, and I agree, but no form of discipline at all? I'm sorry, but it's hard for me to listen to white people.
I mean, that's not the alternatives, though, and that's not really what we're talking about here.
No, but I'm saying...
So don't make it that.
I'm not making it that, but I'm saying it's...
Don't hit me with that wussification of America shit.
I'm not. I hate that shit.
That's what I'm saying. You're over here like...
My sister...
We're not talking about, you either hate your kids or not hate your kids.
No. You're missing my point. I'm saying we have all this information now more than ever, but I'm telling you, in the 60s, they didn't have any of this information.
Yeah, for sure.
You went off day-to-day and how to survive. Let's be honest. I'll give you the example just because.
But isn't ignoring information, isn't that arrogance? Isn't that ignorance?
Yeah, but you gotta understand.
Isn't that why we have information?
It's cognitive dissonance. Everybody suffers from that.
Yeah,
on a certain level. So, like I said, you have to meet people intellectually instead of just shaming them with your ideology and think you're better. It's like, let's think about all the people who say you shouldn't spank their kids, but then let's look at all the people who, all these kids who are shooting up schools and killing people. What was their family dynamic like? Maybe they should have got beat as a kid. I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't.
Some of them are. Some of them are. Some of them
went through horrible shit, and some of them have white supremacist leanings and all this other shit. But the bottom line is, we don't go around and pick on every single horrible person and say how were they raised. So you shouldn't. I'm not going to shit on people who beat their kids, but I am going to shit on people who beat their kids just to beat their kids. Because you have shit you haven't internally worked out. And in terms of Adrian Peterson, you can't pick a side.
Which is the same thing that we're talking about.
It's not the same thing.
That's essentially what you said.
It's too intermingled. Because guess what? My mom knows, I beat my kids. I didn't go as far. She says, my mom tells me all the time, you wouldn't have survived in my household. Our father, we got our ass beat. Y'all kids couldn't made it today. Y'all ain't tough enough. And we're like, no, that was literal child abuse, and I'd fuck you up if you try me. hit me if you want to. But that's what I'm saying. It's a different era.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm never going to judge my grandmother on how she lived when I didn't have to live that shit. So I'm never gonna pick and say, "Oh, you're right or wrong on this." It's just like, yo, AP, he's an old school cat. You know, you're not gonna change his mind. but you can just keep putting examples and information around him to show him that maybe he should question what he believes. The same way you would question, you talk to someone who believes in God or whatever, and they're trying to push it on you. And they're like, well, why do you believe what you believe? Do you know why you believe what you believe? And if you can't introspectively look at what you believe and question it, that's
and
intelligence.
You don't really believe it.
You're just fucking mindlessly following something.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with everything you're saying, and with people like that, I pretty much any sort of people like that, I always just pray and hope that they have a change of mind before it's too late.
I just look at it as
like I hope you learn the error of your ways before
it dooms you.
Before it dooms you, or before it's too late to say sorry.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's the biggest thing.
My biggest thing is I don't know shit. I'm incredibly intelligent. I was practically a child prodigy as a kid. My mom would say that. But bottom line is, like, I know I don't know shit. Like, think about it. There's an entire galaxy out there. We're just human beings. We're a speck of existence. We don't know shit other than what we experience.
Well, not just that, but the concept of a modern childhood is only like a decade old.
Thank you. Shit, like the
late, not even like
the late
70s.
2000s grew up and looked at the 90s and the 80s and the 70s. And
no, it was more like the 60s. Like we started having child labor laws and like child.
No, what I'm saying, where we started looking back and saying child abuse was wrong.
Social welfare.
Because kids were getting their ass beat in the 80s and the 90s.
No, for sure. But the start of like actually being a child was like.
Yeah, but we're saying
after the jungle in the 30s.
We didn't really look at the dynamics of child rearing and all that until like the past 10, 15 years.
Nah, we've been
like really like shaming.
Nah, we've been
people
looking
for
at it
beating
longer
their kids.
than that. We've been looking at it longer than that.
I feel like it's more intensified now
because now we've had generations of people who have.
We have more connections. We have more connections, and information is at all time high. That's what I'm saying.
Anyways, so another topic I wanted to get to, and I wanted to get this last week. Arizona Cardinals coach Steve Wilkes, I think his name's Steve.
Steve Wilkes.
Yeah,
not Steve Wilkes.
2-8, just lost to the Raiders again, and pretty much everyone's been saying he's on the hot seat, even though he's his first season. So you got to take a tangent on him being on the hot seat.
People only say that he's on the hot seat because let's be honest,
he's a black head coach.
Thank you.
Outside of that, though,
I'm tired of first off, it's stupid to fire a first-year head coach in his first year. Anyone who does that,
and they've lost some close games,
hire him.
And they've lost some close games. They had a franchise. They have a young franchise QB.
This is a
Their O line is historically sorry.
Bad.
David Johnson is barely getting integrated back up to speed.
Their tackles are trash. Their guards are ant when they're not hurt. Their defense,
but the kicker. And the anti-thing, though, this whole argument that we're having
Chandler Jones is a great player.
Their defense is trash, and he's a defensive head coach. Which even you can't defend.
I can defend it because
and they actually have good
was
defensive
a strong
players.
Safety.
They actually have good defensive players.
But it's all about scheme. First off, he was the Panthers' defensive coordinator, and they don't run. They don't have the
Panthers' defense fell off a cliff.
They don't have the scheme. They don't have necessarily the scheme set up that the Panthers do. They don't have a Luke Kuechly on defense. They have a great pass rusher. Name a great pass rusher on the Panthers defense.
Name a great DB on the Panthers defense.
Tate Jackson, the rookie out of LSU, was actually
finally,
nice.
But he hasn't coached him.
Raiders missed him. Eric Reed is really good. But my bottom line is those are two different defenses, but they're built similar. Actually, no, they're not really built similar. It's just more of like, I don't know. You gotta use the Cardinals defense the way the Broncos defense got used when they won the Super Bowl.
All right, man. Next one I wanted to get to, probably the last couple ones. Did you see Dante Whitner going off on Akil Witherspoon?
No, I did not.
On Instagram?
But I'm here for it.
Oh, my God, bro. If you haven't seen those videos, you have to go watch it. This dude literally did an Instagram, like 30 Instagram stories breaking down Witherspoon's film like this whole season.
How he's trash.
Basically saying why he's trash. He's like
cornerback at Colorado, by the way.
He's like, you're 6'3" and you can't tackle. You close your eyes and jump at people. He was like, you're 6'3", no physical, you're letting people run. And he literally goes through the film and shows you the film, and he's like, look, here. He's like, I thought he was trash. But no, look, here's a play where he's actually doing it, jamming, being physical. Like, he can do it. And then he shows like 10 other ones where it's like he's just literally letting people run by him, and it's like, bro, you're a 6'3" corner, you're supposed to be physical, and he just goes off and